all through the messenger bot. Boom, boom, boom. It takes like 2 seconds. So you're facilitating a smoother user experience. And it's a $4,000. It starts at $4,000 per person, right? So this is a high ticket thing. Well, usually a salesperson would have to get on the phone and qualify them, and that takes time, and maybe they're not a right fit, and then you've wasted all that time. Well, they've built a bot that actually qualifies that person with less than 10 questions. They ended up in, I think, 2 weeks making over $60,000 with very little advertising, just through social media and getting people to come in and do that qualification.
This is the Ideas Lab podcast, where you can learn from great creative and entrepreneurial minds how to turn your ideas into original businesses, books, and brands. Because in a crowded world, it pays to stand out. This is your host, John Williams, best-selling author and founder of the Ideas Lab London. If you send emails out to a list of people in order to market yourself or your work or your business, you will have seen that often the open rates on those emails is very low. Perhaps as few as 20% are actually opening your emails and reading them. So when a new form of digital marketing arrives that offers something like 90% open rates, it's something all of us who are involved in marketing ourselves should take very seriously. What we're talking about here is messenger bot marketing, and in particular, sending automated messages and running automated chatbots inside Facebook Messenger. Kelly Noble Mirabella is an expert in this subject. And I was really glad to be able to have her on the Ideas Lab podcast and explain to us what is a messenger bot, why are they so valuable, and how we can start to implement a messenger bot in our marketing using a tool that is actually completely free to get started with. Hi, Kelly. Thanks very much for joining us on the Ideas Lab podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. It's wonderful to be here virtually.
Yeah, I know. Well, everything's virtual at the moment, isn't it? But I think
it is.
I think there's something really interesting what you do. You're a specialist in messenger bot marketing, which I have just got into. We're running our first messenger bot campaign right now. But for people who have no idea what that means, what is it?
So messenger bots are automated messages that are built by either humans or AI, which is artificial intelligence. Most of the messenger bots you see today, I would say probably 99% are built by humans. So I like to say bots are only as smart as the people who build them, and they're only as fun as the people that build them. So if you think to yourself, well, bots are annoying or bots are no fun, well, it's probably the builder's fault. I'm sorry. But they are a clever little tool that can help you in a plethora of ways, from doing time productivity hacks. That's how I mostly use my messenger bots, is to save me a lot of time. And we could certainly talk about ideas there. And also just organizing things like, I know you're doing the boot camp right now and keeping people informed, or sending out information and saving your Salesforce time for lead qualification. So it's really, bots can be used in so many ways. It's only limited by your imagination. And yes, there are some rules. So there are limits in what can be done. But if you have a good imagination, you could certainly do a lot.
Wow. Okay. And so bots in this instance, I mean, are we talking solely about Facebook at the moment, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so messenger bots can be, or bots in general, chatbots, they could be things like, I don't want to say it too loud because my things are going to go off, but like your Alexas and, your Googles and all those things, your Siris, those are all actually voice activated chatbots that are built out by developers, and they continue to get smart as you utilize them. So that's a very common type of chatbot that most people are familiar with. They just didn't realize that's what it was. But what we are talking about specifically today, and what my specialty is definitely messenger based. So we're talking about Facebook Messenger based chatbots, or messenger bots, as we like to call them.
And what's the if somebody wants to set up a messenger bot, where do you start? What's a good, easy thing to start using it for, and why would you want to do it? Why is emailing people not enough?
Well, I am a huge proponent of email, and I certainly don't listen to anyone who says that messenger bots are the new email, because they're not. And the real powerful thing is utilizing those two tools together. But in terms of where do I start, I would think, really start thinking about what are the easiest low-hanging fruit ways that you can use a messenger bot. I would certainly start with having a welcome message for people who just shoot you a message that says, hey, here's some information. We can send you to X, Y, and Z, with buttons that go out to different links. Would you like to talk to a human? Ask a question. We'll have someone come. So it's almost like an answering machine in a way. So I think that's the easiest and most handy place to start. That's where everyone really should have like a welcome message, a greeting text, a main menu, which
yeah, so just to clarify this, like if I set it up on my Ideas Lab Facebook page, which I think we have using your favorite tool, manychat.com, and if somebody says anything to us, the first thing it says back is, hey, thanks for your message. We'll get back to you in 24 hours or something like that. But or as quickly as we can. You actually are saying, well, maybe what you can do is, hey, how can we help you? And then you have three options. Do you need help, changing career? Do you need help starting a business? And then when they click on it, it might send them something useful or yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly. When people are waiting, sometimes the simplest things are like, what are people asking me a lot about? A lot of people ask me like, do you have a training? I get a lot of questions about, do you have a course? Do you have a training? Where do I start with chatbots? So I would, if you came into one of my messenger bots, and I have several pages, so who knows which one would say this, but one of them certainly would say, welcome to the Kelly Bot experience. I am Kelly Bot, not a real human, and I'm here to help you. And certainly I can grab Kelly for you at any time, but here's some options. Would you like to learn more about messenger bot resources? Would you like to, learn more about Kelly? Would you like something else that might come up a lot? So I have these 3 buttons, and then there's another option that I'll do that says, would you like to talk directly to Kelly? And the cool thing is that I can actually set up in the back end. We're going to get real techie, real nerdy real quick, just for a moment. And because I use a tool called ManyChat, which is very easy to use once you learn the basics, you can go in and I can create what's called a user input, which I could say to the person, hey, what is your question? You want to talk to Kelly? Great. What is your question? The user input will capture their question and then automatically send me, real Kelly, human Kelly, their question. So when I come in, we've set the expectation with them. Kelly will get back to you as soon as you can. She's a real human. She's a mom. It's going to take a little bit. But in the meantime, here's some other resources. But we have captured their question or the topic, sends it to me, and then I can quickly scan it and I could come with an answer. So it's usually something like, hey, how do I do this specific bot build? And I usually have a video for that. I grab the video, I say, thanks for asking the question. This is real Kelly, by the way. And here's a video that might help you. And people are thrilled with that. And sometimes I don't get back to people for 24 hours. But because my answering machine, Kelly bot, has said, here's what to expect. And here's some things you can look at in the meantime. People don't mind so much to wait. But I think just having a pleasant way to address people rather than just saying, we answer messages between this time and this time. People are like, well, that's unhelpful. But if I feel like, oh, Kelly's going to get to me, great. I'm like in the queue. And then in the meantime, I can read the magazines in the lobby, which are all my resources. I'm down. That's cool. So it is really handy.
Yeah, that's great. We're using at the moment, so I run this 5-day challenge. We've got 1,100 people registered. It's called a 5-day startup challenge to get a business idea out in the world in 5 days. A lot of people are using it to go from an offline business to an online business because of the pandemic and the lockdown.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is every time there's a little instruction video in the morning, that goes up very early in a Facebook group. But then at 9 a.m., so we don't wake people up, we bot them a message saying, so it comes in Facebook Messenger saying, hey, today's lesson is up. Do check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And then when I go live at 12:30 every day, GMT, we send them a bot message saying, hey, John's going live in 2 minutes. Join us now and ask your questions. So they never forget. They don't have to kind of put it in their diary. And the open rates are actually, for things like that, they're much better, aren't they, than they are for an email?
They are. So I think that the way you're utilizing it for like events is absolutely within Facebook's compliance. So it's an excellent example of how it's actually better than email in this example, because Facebook's going to allow you to send those messages, because Facebook does have certain rules about the type of messages you can send out, like a broadcast. is what we call it, which you could think of as like an email blast, right? So a messenger broadcast has several rules. I'm not going to get super heavy into the rules to, save everyone brain cells today, but there is a rule that says you can send event reminders. So in your example, this is a fantastic example of how you can keep people engaged and informed. And because the open rates are up in the 90 percentile versus what email is, if you're lucky, 20%, right? I think the average is below 10%. So if you can do that, then that's fantastic. Now, I take it a step further when I do like a Facebook Live or a webinar. I will actually have, when they register and they come in, you tag them as that registered person so you know who to send those messages to. I will actually grab their email address and I will have a button that says, would you like to add this to your calendar? And I use a tool called addevent.com. And it allows them to add it to any calendar they're using. I just go in, create the calendar like you would in Google and add like the links and anything I want to add. And that will then send a reminder to them on their calendar. And I'm a really big fan of dual touch points because, people get busy and they'll see a notification that you're going live in 5 minutes and then they'll space out and that 5 minutes they'll get busy. So I like to have a reminder at 1 hour from the calendar. Hey, this is happening today. Don't forget. And then the messenger goes out right either, I'll usually do like 10 minutes before and then right at if it's a live broadcast. And I'll say, in 10 minutes, we're going live. Go grab your coffee, go grab your tea, go grab your cocktail, depending on the time of day. And then I go live. Kelly's live right now. Don't miss out. And then, that's through the messenger. So I love the idea of utilizing these dual touch points. And then I will also send an email out as well, because I really like to just.
That's really important because, like you say, even when people sign up, so we got 1,100 people registered and gave their email to be part of the 5-day startup challenge, and then we lost, at least a couple of hundred of them in the process of joining the Facebook group. It's just like, where did you go?
Exactly.
So we'll learn from that next time. But the ones who are on the Facebook Messenger, they're all very active. They're getting the bot messages and so on, mm-hmm. And I think that double touch point thing is great. Anyone who's ever run a webinar, everyone says, you must run webinars, central part of business. What you discover is you get all these people register, and when you get like 30% turned up, or 40% turned up.
And that's very common is like 20 to 30% of people will show up. And what I'm finding in some of the strategies that we're utilizing with messenger bots is that a larger percentage, 50+% are showing up. And if you do dual touch points, depending on what you're doing, I mean, you wouldn't want to do that probably for, a Facebook Lives every day. You don't want to annoy people. But if it is like a free boot camp or even a paid, one of a pet peeve I think a lot of us course creators have is we spend all this time creating courses, whether they're free or not. Everyone signs up and then nobody ever touches them again. So utilizing these things just to remind them, hey, there's value here. Here's what you're learning today. Here's why you can't miss this. And you can certainly change up the messaging. So in Messenger, it's probably shorter, right? More conversational. Hey, we're going live today. Don't forget to join us. But in the email, you might go a little bit more like, we sent you a reminder and this is why today is the one you don't want to miss. Like, here are 3 reasons why this is a must show up situation. So I think utilizing all those tools, you definitely 100% will see a higher attrition rate or people coming in than if you didn't. And I think that we've seen that across the board on so many different types of events, webinar, boot camps, Facebook Lives, you name it. People are showing up a lot more. And I think it is because, we get busy and we're like, the kitchen's on fire because the kids were playing with the dog and the candle knocked over, whatever crazy life we're living. But having those touch points, especially in Messenger, is so helpful for getting people to show up.
Yeah, no, that I really like that idea, and it's making me think of other ways I can do it. And you said you can use it in sales. So if you're trying to get clients for something, how would you approach that? Because some of those terms and conditions in Facebook are about not spamming people too much with promotional messages. Because as somebody who's a Facebook user, I don't want to be dealing with spam there as well as my email inbox. But what's the best practice for a sales team or for someone who runs their own business to get sales?
So the Messenger bot is not a good place to promote, as you said. Facebook has a lot of rules that kind of forbade that. However, if you have the honey, if you have the bait somewhere else, it's a great place to bring people in from your landing pages, from your social media posts, and qualify them. This is especially helpful if you have higher ticket priced items. I'll give you an example. I just did a case study on Kerwin Rae, who is kind of the Gary Vaynerchuk of Australia. And he does this program called, what is it called? Nail It and Scale It. And it's a $4,000. It starts at $4,000 per person, right? So this is a high ticket thing. Well, usually a salesperson would have to get on the phone and qualify them, and that takes time, and maybe they're not a right fit, and then you've wasted all that time. Well, they've built a bot that actually qualifies that person with less than 10 questions, sends the people who are not qualified to other resources back into the customer cycle, back to keep warming them up, or maybe buy something that's a better match at a lower price. And then the end result is those people who've been qualified by the Messenger bot then can automatically schedule a call for, a free consulting session that ends up helping convert people into this high ticket thing. And they ended up in, I think, 2 weeks making over $60,000 with very little advertising, just through social media and getting people to come in and do that qualification.
That's a really good idea, because otherwise, if you offer a sales call, what is effectively becomes a sales call to all and sundry, then you spend your whole life talking to people who are not in a position to buy because they're not ready, they don't have the money, and so on.
Exactly.
And like you say, it's not like you just say, and you don't just say goodbye. You say, hey, look, here's a really low price course, or at least move you forward a bit, or here's buy my book, which costs almost nothing, and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it's fascinating. What do people get wrong about messenger bots? Are there some classic mistakes?
Absolutely. I think the biggest mistake is early on, a lot of people were out there and they were saying, this is the new email. And even, I hate to say it, but even companies like ManyChat were touting that mindset. And now they've definitely changed their tone, because who knew Facebook would come in and put the gates down. But you can't use it like email. And I think that a lot of marketers want to use it for promotion, because it at the time when the gates were open and we could do whatever we want. Yes, that was so powerful for us, the business. But at the end of the day, it was not cool for the end users, because it was kind of annoying to be getting messages from these companies. Now, mind you, we can't get messages from companies we've never interacted with. But once you've messaged a page or even commented on a Facebook business page post, you actually can be messaged by that page. And so I think that there's this place where marketers need to practice the golden rule and understand that, spamming or over promotion, even if you think that your thing is like the coolest, most awesome resource ever, you have to understand there's a time, a place, and a platform. And Messenger isn't always going to fall into those things. So utilizing it for what it's best utilized for. A lot of people, a lot of marketers and businesses that have been doing this since the dawn, since the gates were open, are now saying, this is worthless. We can't use it anymore because we can't, just send out our stuff to people just willy-nilly like we used to. And so they're kind of abandoning ship. And I think that's a big mistake as well, because there are so many case studies. I have mini courses, like at least 4 right now, and I continue to build more, just on case studies of people who are doing full compliance style messenger bots and killing it in various ways. From the Kerwin Rae one that I talked about, I just finished up doing a fundraiser where we raised funds all through the messenger bot. And that was quite the feat. And we raised funds for Australian relief with a messenger bot. There's just so many examples of how you can utilize them. So I think the big mistake is thinking too small or too linear, thinking it's email and staying in that box. And if you stay in that box, it's just not going to work. And then also really making sure that you're setting those expectations with people. You're very clear about the fact that they're not coming in and you're not trying to pretend you're a human, because, people are smarter than that. And that's what annoys people. People say, well, messenger bots, I hate them. They're so annoying. Well, they're annoying for about 2 reasons. Number one, you're not clear with people and they feel like you're trying to trick them. So when you come into any messenger bot I build, it's like, hey, I'm a messenger bot, not a human, but at any time you could talk to a human. So there's that. And then the number two is that you're just sending messages constantly. No, I don't want to get that many messages from my family, let alone from some company that, is out there, especially, how Messenger it is. It's like ping, ping, like I'm trying to get work done over here. So be really strategic about when you send messages and utilize the full multi-marketing channels that are available to you. Utilize SMS. Give people an option. Do you want me to tell you about these things once a week via email or twice a week via SMS or, whatever that is? Give people options, set expectations, and just practice the golden rule, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think it sounds like a better way to use it is to say, like, here's a really cool free thing that I genuinely think you'll find useful. If you want to pick up my, report, it's going to tell you how to take your business online right now or something. And you just give it to them on Messenger bot. But then I don't know if that's possible, but something like that, or invite them to a free online webinar. And then on the webinar or on the webpage or whatever it is, then it's possible for those who picked it up to say, do you want to have a consultation about the course or whatever it is that you're selling off the back end? Would that be a better way of approaching it?
So in Messenger, you couldn't do the first part. You can't just send out to your list in Messenger and say, hey, I have a free XYZ resource. I can't even send out, I do 2 YouTube videos a week. Totally free. They're YouTube videos. But I couldn't go into my Messenger list of, 1,200 people or whatever and say, hey, the new video is up. That's not allowed. I mean, there's some ways we can get around it using like one-time notifications, but there's all these extra steps. But what we can do is we could get, like I said, promote outside and then bring people in order to get the thing. So I could be on my Facebook page or in my Facebook group, and I could say, I have this free guide. It's going to teach you XYZ. All you have to do is comment below if they're on my business page using a growth tool, a comment growth tool, or click this link and it's going to give you access via my Messenger experience. And then it opens it up and it just facilitates a faster experience. So people might ask, well, why wouldn't I just use a landing page for that? Well, here's why. Landing page. I get to the landing page. First of all, it takes me away from wherever I am. I'm on Facebook. I don't necessarily want to go away. So I go to the landing page and then I'm going to type in my name. It's not going to pop up automatically. I'm typing in my name. I'm typing in my email. Hopefully it's a good email, right? And then I'm going to wait. Hopefully I'm going to get this thing, which a lot of people don't because it's hitting the spam folders, or they have to do a double opt-in, which they're not paying attention to. And then you're the creator getting extra work because people are messaging you or commenting saying, I didn't get it. Where is my thing? And let's switch it up. Okay. Instead, go to my Messenger bot, come in. I don't have to ask you your name because I already have that information. Facebook is going to give me, the creator, your first and last name because it's publicly available. It's then going to ask you for your email, and it's going to automatically pop up the email that Facebook has on file. I don't see your email until you give it to me, but Facebook has it. So they're going to show it to you. All you got to do is click it or type in an alternate. So most people are just going to click it. Yep, that's the one. And then boom, here's what I just promised you. Here's that guide. All through the Messenger bot. Boom, boom, boom. It takes like 2 seconds. So you're facilitating a smoother user experience, and you're more likely as a business to capture real good data instead of hoping that they type, their email correctly.
Yeah, and then receive their stuff. The number of people who mistype their email address and then send me angry emails going, why haven't you sent me that thing you promised? And going like, well, probably because you put at gmail.com. Maybe that's something to do with it. But so just to backtrack on that bit, I love this idea that you get it instantly from Messenger and you haven't got to put your name and email in. So to trigger it, what you're saying is I could, for instance, on the Ideas Lab page on Facebook, I could say, hey, I've created this amazing guide. If you want to, just comment yes underneath. And then how do you capture, because I don't want to manually look at all those people to say yes.
No.
So how do you do that bit?
Yeah, so ManyChat and many of the tools out there to use Messenger bots, we have these things called growth tools. And a growth tool, there's a lot of different growth tools, but basically it's the tools that facilitate people coming in and helping you get people in your messenger bot? Well, there's one called a comment grow tool. And I would go into, when I'm building out this campaign, I would go into my grow tools. I would select comment grow tool. I would select the post that I want to apply it to, or I can apply it to all my posts, depending on what your campaign is. And I could say something like, if this person types this keyword in, or this phrase, then I'm going to send them this flow. So when they comment on the Facebook page, say they comment a color red, so what I would do, I'm on the Facebook page, I'm giving away, let's say, a Facebook Live guidebook, like a checklist for Facebook Live. So I might ask, what is the best color? I'm going to do a quiz. I don't like to just ask people, type red below, because that's called comment, engagement baiting. Facebook calls that engagement baiting, which, by the way, is not against terms of service, but they have been very clear they don't like it and they will throttle your reach. So instead, I would say something like, what's the best color, pop quiz, what's the best color to wear on a Facebook Live? Is it A, red? Is it B, gray? Is it C, white? Pick one of these. And then I'll send you this guide. And then in the back end, my keywords would be A, B, C, red, gray, and white. And I would just do all the variations and then have it. And this could be applied to various things. If you have a Facebook Live show, you could do something like that, where you have like a little game where you say, okay, we have a quiz. What's the real answer? So I know Agorapulse is a big social media company that does 2 Facebook Live shows. And in one of them, they always give away mugs, like a coffee mug, right? And they ask the question, so, what's the correct statistic for how many people use Facebook or whatever? And they have A, B, and C. And then when they answer, well, they don't have a messenger bot connected to this, but let's say they did. I could have the messenger bot send, if they did the correct answer, I could send that and I could say, you got it right. And, here we've entered you for the drawing. And then we can have a tag and facilitate the winners that way. So you can automate a lot of those things and still make it really fun and compliant.
I like that. That's quite clever. That if you say enter this word, it's considered comment baiting. But if you say enter the correct answer, you can actually trigger on all 3 correct answers anyways.
So there's some fun ways to get around it. There's definitely ways to get around it.
Yeah. And where do you see the future of messenger bot marketing? Because clearly as these things become more intelligent, there's going to be a huge amount of potential, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the next step in messenger marketing is going to be a seamless experience between the owned platforms of Facebook. So Facebook owns Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram DM. And they've already said that they want to make that a seamless experience cross-platform. So when that happens, number one, all these platforms will go to encryption, which I think is a good move. By the way, you can currently encrypt your Messenger messages. That's just a little side note right now. Most people don't know you can do that. But you would have a cross-platform, be able to do a Messenger bot that works on WhatsApp, that works on Instagram, that works on Facebook seamlessly across platform. And I think that's going to be a big move that we're going to see. I also think there's going to be a push for these companies like ManyChat and their competitors to do more independent chatbot platforms. And what I mean by that is, like something just for your website that is outside of Messenger. So we're not tied to the rules of Messenger. ManyChat is already taking steps to do stuff with SMS. They have a built-in text messaging platform. They have a built-in email platform. So they're trying to create kind of this multi-channel platform. But I have heard rumor that they want to do an independent web-based chat. And I think that that's going to be something that's going to be really handy for a lot of people. So I foresee the companies to really take on more of a multi-channel approach and not just rely on Facebook, because that's never a good plan.
I think, true. You never know what they're going to do next. I think that's really interesting. I use livechatinc.com or whatever it is at the moment on the website, and like you say, I'm paying for that, and then if I end up paying for ManyChat, at the moment we're using the free version, then there'll be some duplication, obviously on completely different platforms. But it'd be great if you could carry across the ManyChat stuff and have proper automation, because I don't think live chat has that currently. So I'm really
Right now you can actually put a web bubble, a web chat bubble on your website, that is ManyChat's bubble, but it is through the Messenger platform. So again, you fall back into those rules. So it can be handy. I have one on my website where it just says, do you have questions about chatbots? They come in and I can answer some basic, send them to resources with my Messenger bot. But those are all on the Messenger platform. So I do think there's going to be more of a push for independent platforms and kind of a multi-channel approach.
No, that's really interesting. And if you got some free, you talked about you got some free resources, where can people find more about what you do and maybe start to understand this Messenger bot stuff?
Yeah. So I would say if you're looking for some free places to start, go to my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Stellar247. That's STELLAR 247. I have 2 videos that come out a week, and every week, one of those videos is dedicated to Messenger bots. The other one's taking from my 14 years of digital marketing. I just do like marketing. You cannot, one person cannot only live on chatbots alone. I also have a really fun Facebook group called Baby Got Bot. It's free and I answer a lot of questions. I post a lot of resources. The community there is amazing. Everyone is helpful. So you can check that out on Facebook, Baby Got Bot. And then if you're looking for more resources that are maybe not free but affordable, you could go to stellar247.thinkific.com. I have a beginner's course. I have a lot of mini courses that are priced under $20 where you can learn very specific types of builds and strategies and case studies. So that would be a good place to get going after the free stuff.
Yeah, no, I love it. Okay, we'll put all those links on the show notes at theideaslab.org. So if anyone didn't catch that as they were listening and cooking their food, then they can go and check out the website and they'll get all those. Kelly, it's been fantastic. It's been really useful for me, and kind of I think the insights into how you should think about it, and also some of the sort of tricks and specific strategies have been really good. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I can help anytime. So I told you I could nerd out on this stuff all day.
Now we could go very deep. I mean, because I've also teach digital marketing to my clients, and I'm sure we have a very nerdy conversation. Maybe we'll have another one day when people are a bit more up to speed on bot marketing, and we'll do something that's super geeky.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Ideas Lab podcast. Please do subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this episode, it would be great if you could leave us a review. You can get links and details of everything mentioned in the podcast in the show notes, along with photos and video clips from many of our episodes. Just go to theideaslab.org/podcast.